A newborn was nearly thrown away as medical waste before the nurse heard a faint cry. Making the decision to have an abortion is never an easy one, and it can be traumatic for all parties involved. However, usually after the operation is completed, that's the end of it. But for one woman, her decision would come back to haunt her because not only did her baby survive the botched abortion, she was now searching for answers. Usually, when someone's adopted, at some point in their life, they search for answers or information about their birth parents, and hopefully their adoptive parents are willing to share the info. But when one woman asked her parents about the circumstances of her adoption, she was shocked to find out the horrific truth.
Also, if you have not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these real-life stories every day. Now, back to the story.
Melissa Odin was only 3 pounds when she was born in Ohio in 1977. Her mother, a 19-year-old college student, found herself pregnant and alone. The young woman was nearly 8 months pregnant with Melissa when she decided to go to the hospital for a saline solution abortion. These abortions are no longer done because of how gruesome they are. The solution is injected into the amniotic fluid and is meant to essentially kill the child by burning them from the outside in. Melissa sat in the toxic fluid for nearly 5 days before she was supposed to be stillborn. Her mother returned to the hospital for the final steps of the abortion, and after she'd given birth to what she and the medical professionals thought to be a stillborn,
they initially believed that salt solution had scalded me to death. I was left for dead there in my mother's hospital room.
They tossed her in a bin with medical waste. Luckily, soon after that happened, a nurse heard her crying.
There was a nurse tending to my mother, and she looked over and realized that little baby, 2 pounds, 14 ounces, that they had left for dead, was actually making weak grunting noises and tiny movements. They provided me with medical care. You know, it's amazing to me.
NICU nurses worked around the clock to save her after discovering she was still alive. When Melissa was interviewed on camera, she shared that she loves telling the story of when her parents first saw her. The first time that they laid eye on me lying in the incubator, they fell in love with me. And you know, I always joke, I know I wasn't a pretty baby. I know that about myself, haha, she said. But they knew that she was something special. In the same interview, Melissa expresses how important she thinks it is that we think about the children behind the statistics and that she is what many other children would look like if they were given the chance to live. It's not a statistic, it's not just a choice, it's not just a right. It's a human being, she said. Melissa is now a master's-level social worker who actively campaigns against Planned Parenthood and against future funding of abortion clinics. But before she found her calling, she struggled with self-acceptance and self-love, something that affected her for years, starting at the tender age of 14.
Because one night, having an argument with my sister, she said, "You know, Melissa, at least my parents wanted me."
It was then that she spiraled down into what she calls the unholy trinity of sex, alcohol, and bulimia.
And she didn't tell me all of the story, but encouraged me to ask our parents to tell me the truth. And so the look on my mother's face that night, I'll never forget it.
To rid her life of all unhealthy habits, she decided to get in touch with her spiritual side.
"You know, Melissa, there's no easy way to tell you this. We love you." She said, "Honey, we'll always love you." She said, "Melissa, your mother had an abortion during her pregnancy with you."
In her words, she turned to the grace of God, which helped her through some of her most difficult times. She said she started to focus on being grateful for the life she was given.
I really have nothing to be angry about. You know, I've been blessed in so many ways. God saved my life. God redeemed me.
When she dove a little deeper into why her mother tried to have an abortion, she was shocked at what she discovered. Due to Melissa's biological mother being the tender age of 19, her mother thought it was best to get rid of the child and forced her to have the abortion. This fact stunned Melissa, as she now knew that her birth mother didn't have a choice in the matter and must have gone through extreme trauma just like her. But how could she just ignore the fact that Melissa was born alive? It turns out Melissa's birth mother was so sedated during the operation that she didn't know her baby had been born alive. Amidst the chaos, her birth mother wasn't notified. Later in life, Melissa desperately searched for her birth mother as she wanted to know her side of the story. Today, Melissa's a wife, a mother, a devout Catholic, and an author. She published a memoir titled You Carried Me, detailing her life, story, and why she's a pro-life advocate. Melissa said although she had tensions towards her birth mother and searched for 17 years for her, having her own children softened her heart.
But more importantly, at 19, I really wanted to find them because I knew that I would do this with my life someday. And I wanted them to find out from me first that I was alive and well, and that I had forgiven them a long time ago for that decision made to end my life.
Melissa refers to her story with her mother as a love story, a unique one at that. It's a love story that God wrote and man attempted to rewrite, but God's story wins in the end. The two spent 2 years communicating before meeting, telling secrets and learning to trust each other.
I felt like I wanted to know some of the answers, and I felt like I deserved to know. Why is it that my life was just a choice for someone?
Her mother spent 36 years believing Melissa had died that day and had trouble suffering from grief and guilt over the experience. Her mother never had any other children but was elated to find out about Melissa.
If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with someone who may find it interesting too. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one.